The Obama administration is working hard to sell the framework nuclear agreement with Iran. But there are new questions about what exactly the U.S. agreed to. Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill, where Congress will have to decide whether to try and block that deal. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning. Discrepancies emerged over the weekend between the U.S. version of this framework and the Iranian version. Discrepancies over, for example, how quickly sanctions on Iran would be lifted. Now, U.S. negotiators say it's not surprising that Iran is trying to spin the details in their favor, but it isn't helping to win over skeptics here on Capitol Hill and elsewhere.
I think this deal is a dream deal for Iran, and it's a nightmare deal for the world.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was all over U.S. television Sunday, arguing any deal that lifts sanctions will make Iran richer and more dangerous.
So Iran will have billions of dollars flowing to its coffers, not for schools or hospitals or roads, but to pump up its worldwide terror machine.
Presidential hopefuls like South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham pummeled the deal too, saying it doesn't address Iran's status as a chief sponsor of terrorism.
Obama is a flawed negotiator. His foreign policy has failed on multiple fronts. Nobody in the region trusts him. The Iranians do not fear or respect him, so he'll never be able to get the best deal.
In an interview with the New York Times, President Obama pushed back.
There is no formula, there is no option to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon that will be more effective than the diplomatic initiative and framework that we put forward.
And California Democrat Dianne Feinstein argued Netanyahu and the other critics haven't presented an alternative.
I don't think it's helpful for Israel to come out and oppose this one opportunity to change a major dynamic, which is downhill, a downhill dynamic in this part of the world.
Negotiators now have less than 3 months to turn that framework into a full-scale agreement. If they succeed, a growing number of lawmakers from both sides say Congress should have the final say on any deal that involves lifting sanctions. Republican Bob Corker chairs the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
If the president feels like this is something that's good for the nation, surely he can sell this to the United States Senate and the House.
And the Senate is moving quickly. They're going to start considering legislation that would require the White House to get congressional approval for a deal as soon as they get back next week. The White House has said the president would veto that legislation, but Senator Corker said over the weekend he's very close to having enough votes to override a presidential veto. Charlie?
Nancy, thanks.